All right, folks. Now, I just wanted to make a video to extend my previous video. I put the links below. It's impossible to solve unemployment. Now, a bit about my background. I'll do a quick one. I used to study social work, and social work is empower individuals, advocate individuals, and to provide, their autonomy decision to choose whatever the path or careers they wanted to do in their life to achieve their life goal, to achieve their dreams. That's what social workers do. Now, as my personal experience is I work in the emergency relief, and as well with handling with the parcels, food parcels as well. So that's a bit of my knowledge. So you guys understand that where's my knowledge is coming from. So this is based on studies and based on what I'm seeing. Now, on the video that I made, a couple of videos before, impossible to solve unemployment, is these are the steps that you have to go through in order to get a job, right? Obviously, first things first, you got to practice your job interview questions, which you do that in the job agency, or you do that on your Google or your own time. And those, you got to do your resume, cover letter. You can do that with the job agencies. Phone interview, of course, what the job agency taught you how to do, how to master job interview questions. And after that, then you got to do your webcam. Some jobs will do webcam questionnaires. Then you have to go through training, group interviews, one-on-one supervisor, there are rounds of interview stages or training stages. Then you have physical and psychological tests, literacy and numeracy tests, reference check. I'll explain a bit more on that one. And criminal check, right? Interview by managers, then sign a contract, right? That's pretty much straightforward. Now, one of the main reasons why I left, and I knew myself that I wouldn't solve anything in people who are marginalized, who are just basically you're lifting these people up. You empower them. You give them a five-column strength-based approach, empower approach as well. And as well, you do the Maslow hierarchy approach with your clients as well. And, those who are marginalized. And I'll particularly will narrow focus on those who went to jail or has a criminal record. As a social worker or agency, how can I uplift that person up? Because if they have a criminal check and comes back, well, pretty much, it's pretty much reduce the chances of getting a job. And I'm only telling you this now because now I just hold on the job, but they wouldn't give me the contract. Well, all my peers, they all got contracts because they got their police check. However, the police check, they want this, they randomly selected my application for manual check, so check up to 3 weeks. Therefore, the organization would not give me my contract, and that's how extreme it is. That's the protocol, and I respect that. I achieve literally all of them. Group interviews, one-on-one, then rounds of interview, physical, psychological, literacy, numeracy, reference check. I haven't gone to I'm doing that tomorrow, interviewed by the manager. But it's hard for someone who has, a criminal background. One of my classmates, who's a mother of 6 or 7, who has a criminal history. Now, I don't know what the crime was, but she's pretty much set for good. That's her life. It's determined. She can't get a job. And I felt bad for her because, a mother of 6, she done horrible bad things when she was a young age. And she tried to make up for it. She go back to studies, training courses, go back and try to uplift himself up. But she couldn't do it because, if you have a criminal record, then, and if you got to deal with vulnerable people, you can't do it. And I felt really bad for her because pretty much she did the course with us, all of us, 9 months, no job. So, physical and psychological tests, especially those who are mental health or those who are out of psychiatric or perhaps homeless. There's a lot going on. And they got to do like I'm not saying drugs or alcohol is a good thing, but for a homeless person, that's something that they have to deal with to have order to have good sleep or better sleep or have to overcome their shame, depression, and everything. But having all these organizations is making it so tough. It's so competitive because many people are applying for the same jobs, thousands or hundreds. So they wanted to be pick the best of the best or compatible or competitive that tick all these boxes here. And it's frustrating. And people those who are on welfare, they're not getting that much. And that's why a lot of in Australian media they keep saying the dole bludger. Now, as a social worker, we had to learn and cope and how to overcome not being, for them to marginalize. But, with all these news media and as well with the, the locals and the people in the country, blame and shame those who are getting unemployment benefits. Dole bludger. And the reality is Australia or many first world countries or many countries out there is unemployment and as well, it can be jobs that be shifted to third world countries or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to name more. So even for a person, let's just say, even if as a social worker or a worker, to try to help out those to go through all these stages, but also, or they may not get to these stages. Because if you're homeless or you don't have much money on your bank account, you don't have a phone. When I was working in the emergency relief and a food parcel, many of them couldn't get a job because they struggled to put food in their mouth or keep satisfied their stomach. Food is like a phone is like, they don't need to have a phone. They can get a mailbox, but if you don't have a phone, you don't have internet, right? You don't have internet. So most of the jobs nowadays, you get emails, you get calls and things like that. But when people don't have much money and prioritize their physical needs, for having 4 walls, food on the cupboard or on the fridge, they put phone last because they don't need a phone. And it's hard, we do give out, phone vouchers, some organization was providing phones as well, but electricity or, they couldn't find where's a PowerPoint, then having a phone for them is pretty useless. Or not keeping up with their credits, it's pretty much useless. And most of the organization will give like phone credits. With government cutting funds a lot, they provide the public phones credit. Now that's not useful, right? Well, the most useful thing is the getting secure mail via through these agency address, PO box, post office box. So you have that, and it's hard. It's hard for those who are to have time or commitment on attending to rounds of stages of training and assessment because they struggle to to get like transportation or public transport. It costs money, and we do unfortunately government has defunded a lot of travel concessions or travel cards, right? Travel passes, let's put it that way. And it's hard. It's really hard. I really felt for these people. Now, they could say they can, government was like, oh, you know what? Maybe we'll put them in the training courses, like, any trade courses or TAFE courses that is running for free. And that's pretty good. That actually makes it look better than having unemployment where they're actually studying for it. Now, whatever the course they study, whether the government initiative with certain courses, and like to training courses and everything. And when they get out of the course, it's not that they get a job straight away. Now, if you're haven't got into a job, or you've been unemployed for so long, or you've been homeless, your reference check has to be within 2 years. Now, this is my recent, just happened to me when I was applying for this job, that I used to work for this emergency relief, and I wanted to, the manager that I was working resigned due to one of the work days that this does not meet her, her availability, and she quit. And I quit due to not having the working ability as well. Now, the reference has been over probably like 2 months, 2 years and 3 months. Now, I sent her an email saying that, I nominated you as to be one of my referees. Will you be happy to be this and that? And first things first about the referees is that they don't tell you if you're a good worker or a bad worker. Whether they want to give you a reference. Number 2, she said, I don't think she will be suitable for giving you a referee because it's over the period of 2 years. Now, you need reference within 2 years, right? So it's pretty gutted, man. It's hard to find jobs, and you need reference, and many of them don't provide. And it's tough. You go through all that. And imagine if a homeless person or unemployed person, or let's just say a mother who has been out of the workforce due to child rearing. I want to say end of the workforce. No reference. So you're pretty much screwed. And that's why I said today's world, it is difficult. And I'm not bashing on these people. I'm just glad that I left, because I do not want to be a bleeding heart do-gooders going to the industry and try to be like, I can help you out. I can do this. I can do that. Yes, I'll hold your hand. I'll lift you up to get to that stage. It is impossible if you don't have, any of these checklists. It's very hard. Those who have mental health, it struggle to even, go to appointments or interview, because they have, we wouldn't get them up to get out of the bed or things like that. And Centrelink or welfare state will cut their money because they didn't intend to interview a certain staff, thinking they're lazy or things like that. But it's hard. And even, let's just say you passed all this, right? You got your contract, everything. You got a 3 to 6 months probation. Now, when you're going to get your first paycheck, when you have your probation, they don't just give you 20, I can't just say 20 or 36 hours per week. They give you they wanted to test you, they want to suss you, what are you? They give you the hours ever. Now, I'm not saying that whether it's a good thing or bad thing, because they wanted to know, who are you? Are you a hard worker? Are you hungry? And it's tough, right? If you're on a probation for 3 to 6 months, they give you phony hours. How and then Centrelink say, oh, you know what? Or Social Security, social services. Oh, you know what? You've been working this amount of money. We have to reduce your pay. But it's so hard to keep demands. I really felt for this group of people, and I knew it's not going to get to nowhere, and I don't want to be the one to give them false hope because they have the probation, they have bar, get your first paycheck. Criminal check. That's why I say it's very difficult, and I never ever whoosh, blame, or shame them. But what the news media do, they name and shame them. All right? And, the government do fund all these programs, but they're cutting funding because, you know, they got to do what they got to do to run the society or things like that. And I know most of you guys, oh, the government has shitloads of money, you know, this and that, bourgeoisie, you know, they don't care about the poor. They always banish the poor. And unemployment rate is always being there, you know. And I have been studying with the Working House, with the Great Britain and the British Newport House, and how what they did is, you know, they give them accommodation and food in exchange for free labor. That's what they did. But nowadays, you don't need to work and things like that. But if you're on an unemployment benefit, they'll chuck you in and go through, you know, a tremendous amount of time to go to their job agency to look for work or do training the whole day. And when you do that, it's tough. It is really tough. And that's why I said, I'm not saying I am really glad that I left social work, but I'm just saying that I felt really bad because it's misleading them to get to those stages. I felt really, really bad for this group. And all I can say, you know, now most of the jobs nowadays are more in fashion on apply, you know, on group interviews, and as well with stages. It will take you a month to get in the whole of a job because they got to go through all this assessment, all this stuff, and you struggle to even meet, you know, putting food in the, you know, on the table, whether it's your family or yourself. It's hard, and that's why I said I felt really bad for them. And also one of my main reasons why I'm not going to help or solve anyone in that sector. Not because I do not want to help them. It's just many factors. And I felt really bad. I honestly do. Because I don't want to be labeled as bleeding heart do-gooders, but unfortunately that's how it's presented. I hope this video try to share the light. It doesn't have to be you're homeless or unemployed, but those who just got fired or got sacked, they haven't keep update with, you know, being competitive in the job market or whatever. And I felt deeply bad for them to order to survive. I felt really bad. That's the video.